What's up, folks? What's up, folks? What's up? This is Uncle REG. Yeah, live. Yeah, we gotta talk about this P Diddy documentary. Finally get this. I finally got this scene it, not all of it, but I'm doing part one and part two today. I finally saw those two parts. I would have did something, but apparently I had to pay the bill. So once I paid it, I was able to see it, and hey, man, it's interesting, man. This is. This thing got something on his hands. I don't know what anybody say. I know there's a lot of people that is mad at him. But hey, you can be mad at him. See, who cares? I mean, truth is the truth, man. Um, we're gonna go over everything in part one and part two. You know, yeah. So we're gonna get into it. I might be here for a minute. I'm gonna go over all this and stuff. You guys support the channel. Hit the cash app, hit the super chat. I think tomorrow I'll do 3 and 4. We're gonna go ahead and do that. Support the channel, the cash app. It is December. I could use a little funding for the channel. It'd be great. I can get a little something, but nevertheless, give a like. I need those likes. Support the channel. Yeah, he said Diddy is done. Yeah. What is it? French Connection Mama. Yeah, I think he's done too. I mean, remember, I'm only going on part one and two. I don't know what's in 3, 4. We'll do that tomorrow. But I'm gonna go over everything I seen in it. You can fill in the blanks. You know, So let's get to it. So actually, the documentary was done well. I guess shout out 50 Cent for that. Everything was on point and stuff. First part is Pain and Love. Apparently, the intro come out, him talking to his lawyer and stuff. Apparently, there was some feds on the roof. He was in this hotel. Mad because, this is like days before he got arrested and stuff. And he was trying to get his lawyers to do everything they can to go ahead and solve this situation. And you telling him you gotta do anything you can do. I don't care what you gotta do. You get on demon time and shit. Um, but anyway, apparently he had a videographer to follow him around. Now people trying to figure out how to get this kind of footage and stuff like that. There's somebody snitching. Like I said, somebody's pretty camp snitching. Oh, you saw all the episodes? Okay, yeah, I didn't. If I didn't, I wouldn't have came on live if I didn't watch it because it's like 50 minutes each episode, like 50 minutes. So I probably wouldn't be able to do it. And I don't want to come on late. My time. So basically, that intro happened, and then the next it went to the folks that was interviewing them. Well, basically it was Kalina Harper. She was with I think she was one of his groups making a band or whatever. But she was on a Hip Hop and Love. She was there, and then it was Aubrey O'Day, Eric Sermon of EPMD fame, Albie Sure, Capricorn Clark, Roger Bond, Security, and they did a brief interview with the juror 160. That was interesting. And then you had Mark Curry, which was one of the main guys, which was Bad Boy Artist. Him and Eric Sherman, it seemed like, and Kirk Burroughs. That's where it actually started beginning when they started talking about his life. But yeah, they was talking about how he wanted all control, wanted everything under control, everything. And I guess Eric Sherman was saying something about, he thought that money can buy everything. Oh, it was Mark Curry was saying that he thought that money can get him out of any jam. That's why I think that's why he didn't leave like Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons know better. You can have all the money in the world, but they coming after you. Them dogs on the top of the hill come after you. They coming after you. You might need to just lay low, get up out of here. Maybe Candace Owens need to, you could say, take heed. But I don't think nobody's coming after her. That's all I'm saying. I had to throw that in there. But anyway, so it started out basically talk about his beginning and stuff. Kirk Burrows, which is co-founder of Bad Boy, which is one of his best friends and stuff. Talking about the childhood and stuff. And we talk about, when he start working for Uptown. P Diddy started out as a dancer and stuff that showed him how he was dancing and stuff. All these videos, stuff like that. So I guess he got introduced to Andre Harrell through Heavy D. See, he was always over at Heavy D house trying to get him to put on Andre Harrell. So that happened, and then I'll be sure came in. And he had to deal with them. He was one of the biggest artists there. I'll be sure was big in the 80s. I don't understand. That was actually a good album too. Good album. I like the first and second one. Third one is okay too, but I like the first and second one. That was his best album and stuff. You know. But he started working for Andre Harrell and stuff, and then apparently this is where he met Kim Porter, which is mother of 3 of his kids, which was Albie Sure girl at the time, and he got jealous. I think Albie Sure because Kim was down with him, and he was trying to talk to Kim. He didn't give up, man. He was just hounding her. He was trying to talk to her. He probably, I guess, gave in eventually, of course, because he wouldn't have no kids. But he loved her, which is crazy, So it goes to Kirk Burrows, childhood and bringing up and stuff, saying that he was a son of a hustler, gangster. His father was in the streets. He found out about his father and stuff, some paper clippings or whatever the case may be. And his mom was also a hustler too and stuff like that. Some people say that he might be a son husband, part son husband, but I don't know that relationship might be a little bit more, you could say, darker than a son husband. A son husband, basically, that guy would kind of do what his mom say, basically, by the most part. I think that there was more older sister, younger brother type of relationship. That's what I'm saying. But then I think Kurt Burrows saw one time when he beat up his mom, and we're gonna get to that later. And then we had Joe Dickerson, Neil, when she got married and stuff. But then she was a music promoter, and apparently she was the first victim of P Diddy. She was crying about sexual assault and stuff, and P Diddy act like I guess she confronted P Diddy or wrote him a letter. His mom, I guess his mom wrote him a letter to P Diddy and his mother and explaining what's happening there. I don't think they really understood anything like that. They just blew it off and stuff. P Diddy say that he didn't do anything and all this shit, of course. But that was the first time he sexual assault. That's when he was working for Bad Boy. Uptown. I guess he was at Andre Harrell house or whatever. Then P Diddy. Let's see. Now she kept a journal. This was interesting. She kept a journal. It's a joke. Because now she got the lawsuit on him too. And the lawsuit was, it said something about Maxwell House. Is that Maxwell House? Is that the girl that used to work for Maxwell? I mean, work for Epstein? I don't know. I'm just, no. But they kind of highlighted that point, Maxwell House. But I don't think that, I don't know. I'm just saying. Then we go over to P Diddy and Heavy D. They talk about the basketball game incident where people got trampled to death and stuff like that. And it was a big stain on P Diddy head. He over promoted it and stuff, and people got killed. They bum rushed the door. People got trampled to death, killed. We all know about it. He was my age. You heard about it and shit, And like, damn. But everybody was saying that this is how P Diddy actually got famous. He got his name after that day. People knew who he was off of a tragedy. In the tragedy, even P Diddy said in the documentary, which is crazy. Something dark, change your whole entire outlook and actually make you somewhat famous. I wouldn't want to be famous for that reason, but goddamn. But yeah. Now, what happened after that? His mom asked him when the incident happened that, "Are you sure you want to be in the music industry?" He flipped off and started whooping on his mom. And this is what everybody talking about. He beat up on his mom. Like, you gotta be crazy to beat up on your mom, man. I don't know. Maybe he didn't think of her as his mom and stuff. Like I said, maybe this was like a big sister, little brother relationship. But still, you don't beat up on your sister either. What kind of shit? You and your sister, brother get in fights, but not like no beating up motherfucker. So he already had a problem with beating up on women. He beat up on mama, so of course he's gonna beat up on other women. If you can put hands on his mom, remember Gene Deal said that he was talking shit to his mom and stuff, and Gene Deal said, "But don't you ever talk like that to your mom? I'm gonna whoop your ass." And he wasn't going. He wasn't going to say that shit to Gene Deal. He wasn't going to front with Gene Deal. Y'all don't know what Gene Deal used to look like back in the day when he was in full shape. He looked like a defensive lineman and shit. That be running over motherfuckers. No joke. Yeah, but this is crazy, man. So we move over to when he was at Uptown, and he wanted some more responsibility there. So he asked Harrell to give him this AR position, A&R position, which is one of the big positions you can get at a record company. You there, artist development. You get the artist, develop them and stuff, create the image and stuff, and promote them and all that and stuff. You responsible for how they look and all that. A big position, but he'd be in it eventually becoming VP of A&R over the Uptown. But his first group that he founded was Jodeci. Found Jodeci, brought him to Harrell, they sung, and Harrell signed them and stuff. And then later, Mary J. Blige came, and that was it. He had two of the biggest. I remember when I was a record retailer back then, I sold a lot of Jodeci records. I remember when that other album came out, it was first or second album. It was the second album. I sold a lot of that, and the third one. A lot. So did Mary J. Blige. That was just like, they was making money over there. Because I could tell you from what I sold, the albums that I sold, well, we was selling tapes and records. I sold a few records of the regular records. Y'all don't know about the records. Records and stuff. But I sold a few records to some of you guys, those DJs and stuff that wanted, or people who wanted records. So a few of them. But yeah, man. I remember those days when they came in. I remember when they came into the wholesaler place. They do the rounds when the album come out. They always hit the record retailers and the distributors for us. I remember I met Biggie and Craig Mack. Craig Mack was a nice guy, man. Tall as hell, gotta be about 6'4" at least. Like him, Method Man, and all them dudes like that about that height was 6'4", 6'5" or some shit. Craig Mack was tall. Biggie was there too. He was just like, hey, what's up? He was just starting out, man. Just starting out. He had that one single and I bought a whole bunch of those singles. And then Craig Mack, he was passing out donuts around the place and shit. That's a cool dude. I'm sorry that he passed away and stuff. But he didn't get he got too man, get no money and shit like that. His wife came out to the mouth. I get to that later. But yeah, now P Diddy wasn't there. I was like, where's P Diddy? Yeah, he wasn't there. Or whoever was their manager, he was there and stuff, whatever. But they wasn't there. Diddy. But that would have been interesting to see P Diddy there. And I would have had a P Diddy story. And then knowing who P Diddy was and stuff, I don't know. He could have been would have been trying to flirt with some of them niggas up in there. I'm just saying. Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, so that was the big groups over there. They actually put them really on the board. And then Eric Sherman came in. He said something about he was dating Misa, which is his first baby mama. P Diddy's first baby mama. Apparently, P Diddy saw her and wanted to be with her and was trying to steal her from Eric. Now, Eric Sherman, that is, they was friends. He wasn't sweating it, but then apparently he was like, he didn't like her being with him at all. So they was friends, and then they kind of just fell off after that, because of the relationship of Lisa, first baby mama. Now it was an incident where they talked about where Lisa got beat up, and he was beat up so bad that she was trying to hide under the car wheel, this is wild. So again, P Diddy got a problem beating up on women. Now you see why Cassie, all the shit with Cassie going through, it's true, it's real. Like I said, if a nigga sitting there and put hands on his own mama, he gonna put hands on every other woman he be with. That's insane. He almost out here defending him and shit. Really? Y'all should count this nigga when you find out he put hands on his own mama. And his first baby might put hands on. Now I don't know if he put hands on Kim. I didn't see the rest of the documentary, but we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that tomorrow. But so far he put hands on what, 2 women? What? But apparently the little beating he did with Missy was kind of bad. And then you talk about the situation where he got fired from Uptown Records and stuff, and then he started his own label, Bad Boy Record and stuff. And then remember, before, I didn't know this, but he found Biggie before he left Uptown. He already signed Biggie. So Harrell said that, okay, I'm going to fire you, but you can take Biggie, but you want to pay for him. So they was on a timetable to try to get up the money to pay Biggie debt off. So he took Biggie up to Arista Records because he heard, Clive Davis. That's where Clive Davis come into the mix. Clive Davis heard some of the tracks they had, and he was impressed. I think give me the loot. He heard that one. He was like, oh yeah, he signed them. So I guess he got the money from Kai Davis, was able to pay her rail or whatever, and then that was it. He was able to form Bad Boy, and then Cook Boris, his best friend, which is this is odd. He gave him 25% of the company, and then his mother, he gave his mother 75%. He didn't want to owe nothing in his name because I guess he didn't want to get sued or whatever. Make sure that he's in the clear, leaves everything. And you be like, yeah, I'm getting 25% of the company. You be happy and shit. Cause you know you got money coming. Straight up. You got straight money coming. And they was making millions. More than millions. But Kirk, his friend, saw the change in him after he formed Bad Boy. He said that this is where P Diddy ended up becoming who he is today. The evil person that he is today. This is the beginning. That old person he had that was dancing and all like that, carefree, this and that and stuff, it was gone. It was gone. I think it was already gone already. From his upbringing, man, it looks like he was already destined to do some wild shit anyway. The way his mom raised him, the mom having parties in the house, and this and that, had a stage in the house and stuff. And then they showed the part where his mom said that he was he got beaten and stuff. So maybe this is what it is. Maybe he got back at his mom for all to be a time beating him, and he started hitting her because of that. He felt some kind of way. He shouldn't have got beat. But he went through some shit living in that household, coming up the way he came up. And then the person, the dad, is gone because he was in the streets and stuff, this and that, third. But Kirk Burroughs always was saying that he was doing his paper gangster persona, and then it changed into the street gangster persona. So he was trying to merge the two, I guess, something like that. Now we get back to P Diddy and Lisa. Apparently, another situation happened with P Diddy Erickson or Lisa. Apparently, he saw her in a truck with Eric Sherman in the truck. Probably would want to be just fucking or whatever. Like, of course. So he fronted Eric Sherman and swung on him. Eric Sherman was laughing at him, going like, "What? You swung on me? Oh, you gonna get it now?" He told him, "Let's go on the back alley. You can handle this." He go around the back and stuff. Nothing didn't happen, but P Diddy played Biggie album for him. And then after that, Eric Sherman said, "Oh shit, this is what you got." Weird, weird. I was hoping it would be a fight. To tell you the truth, I wanted Eric Sherman to whoop his ass, but he had balls. He was gonna swing on Eric Sherman. That's a big nigga. Come on now, man. Crazy. Because we know that P Diddy is not really no fighter like that. You know, street fighters and shit like that. So the next thing is Tupac coming to the situation. Death Rise and Death Row and stuff. But Tupac, his first two albums, he was on Interscope, I think. And apparently, him and Biggie got together, and because they like Tupac, and they was trying to get Biggie to be like Tupac, I guess, And Biggie and Tupac was friends. This is one thing that was crazy. Them two was actually friends. But P. Diddy was jealous of the friendship. Jealous of the friendship. And he was just a Tupac. Tupac got women, a lot of women. Women, they loved him. People actually took to Tupac before, even though he turned, took the gangster persona. They still, everybody loved Tupac. When Tupac died, I was like, damn, I felt kind of something. I don't really used to do that, but that's how powerful, big Tupac was. Even though your Uncle REG felt something. I said, God damn. I was like, huh? I was like, oh shit. Oh. So if I felt it, I know other people felt like, especially I'm from the West Coast too and shit, Ronnie Ellie, what's up? What's going on? Yeah. What's going on? Yeah. Give me a like out here. Give me a like. Give me a like. Give me a like. So apparently P Diddy was envious of Tupac. And was jealous of his friendship with Biggie. So that's like the end of part one. Now part two is when all the shit start going down. It's pretty good. You need to watch it. I had to pay my Netflix bill in order to watch it. It was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it. Yeah. I haven't finished. I'm just doing part 1 and 2. Tomorrow I'll do 3 and 4. So now we go to part 2, which is what goes down must come up. Funny title. Okay. Now they talk about the Tupac shooting at the Quad Studio and stuff. He used to be in the West Coast. When Tupac came out and said, "Oh, them niggas set me up." We all believed it. We all believed it. Yeah, everybody did. Because they was looking funny and shit when he came in. It came in, bloody and stuff. And, I shot him, huh? Like the motherfucker expecting the nigga to be dead or some shit. And he said, oh, I'm sure. I could see it. I could feel it. Tupac thought that. So they talk about that incident. And that's when a lot of stuff started happening. That's when I think the Tupac kind of fell out after that. Maybe P Diddy set it up so he could break the friendship between Tupac and Big because they was getting close. I'm sure they would have collaborated on some stuff if their friendship would have broken and if this shoot didn't happen, it would have been monumental. But P Diddy wasn't having it, man. I think P Diddy was jealous of a lot of people. We won't talk about that later. That he was jealous of a lot of people that had talent because he didn't have the talent and stuff. He wouldn't always be the star. When Shook said, the executive producer all in the video dancing and stuff. If you don't want that to happen, come over to Death Row. Infamous statement. Yes. So at this time, Bad Boy started to come up because they had Craig Mack over there. They started get the locks. I don't think Mace came through till after. Mace came kind of before Biggie died. Cameron too and stuff, but the El Cops came at the same time. But Bad Boy was moving. Bad Boy moving, and then they were doing all these extended versions of stuff. Bad Boy with Mary J and stuff, executive with Mary J and stuff and so he was doing stuff for them still here and there. So it was a big thing. But apparently it was one incident where it said in the documentary that Kirk Burris was called into the office and P Diddy was sitting there getting head from this girl, apparently. And he asked him, "Why you call me in here for this? We want me to see this?" And apparently, P Diddy wanted just to see that he can get this, have this done to him all the time. So basically, that's starting of the debauchery that was going on. I mean, that his debauchery. This is the beginning of it. The power, use his power to get what he wants, even sex from people and stuff like that. If he didn't get it, he makes sure that you get drugged and you don't give it up anyway. Apparently, they were saying that he don't like to be told no. Hmm. And then the next thing that happened was the incident happened with Kirk Burrows. P. Diddy came in the office with a baseball bat saying that he wanted the 25% ownership of Bad Boy and he's not going to leave until he get it. Now, this is weird. Now, the reason for this is that he probably had some deal in place and stuff where he needed ownership. He needed ownership, so he went in there and got back his 25 because he first figured that he didn't want to give it up. Of course, that's why he went over a baseball bat because he wasn't going to try to give it up without a fight. Now he said he did went in with a baseball bat. I don't know if he went in with some other people either. I don't know, but apparently this was his best friend, his childhood friend that he trusted. Question that why did you give it up why do you give everybody all the ownership in the first place? Why you have it? Because maybe something was going on we didn't know of. But anyway, so he actually signed it over. And then Burroughs talk about the money problems he had with the artist, how he treated the artist. The only money the artist seen when they signed the Bad Boy Records was the advance. Whatever advance you got, that was about the last money you gonna see. This is bad, man. This is why motherfuckers don't want to be in the record industry no more. Or this is why motherfuckers don't want to have nothing to do with the record business anymore. This shit here. Same way the white man or some other nigga in the record industry did you. You gonna do the same thing or even worse to the other one. He fucked up niggas. You fucked up niggas' paper. You sign me, I'm using all my talent. I'm making you millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. And you ain't gonna give me no motherfucking money. That the only money I got was advance. And that's it. You got me under this death contract. This is some wild shit. And then they interviewed Craig's wife. Craig Michael passed away. But they interviewed his girl, like his girl, his wife, whatever. And they said one time they needed money and stuff. They had no money. She said she had to get money from her dad in order to keep the place they had. That he did not get paid after that. It was always something. And then I think he met P Diddy one time and asked me, I need some money. P Diddy put out a roll of money. This was in the documentary. Roll of money. Pulled out, just gave him $100. What kind of shit is that? That's some cold shit. Craig Mike said, this is who you are? No wonder why Mace kept leaving, coming back and leaving. This is crazy, man. Damn. Really? That's cold. Now you know why people don't want to be in the music industry. They say I'd rather be independent, be indie. I do it myself. I just need a good promoter, music promoter, promote me, get me some shows, this and that, third, or a good manager. I'll pay a manager. Fuck that. To sign a deal, I don't know, man. So all these guys that was on Bad Boys, they never seen no real money until they left. And remember, there was a time when the Locks was talking about them, saying that they couldn't use the Locks name when they performed. They had to use some other name. Now, P Diddy all of a sudden, before he got arrested, gave everybody their rights back. You have to use them all up and shit. Now you got your rights back and shit. Because he didn't want them to come out on a documentary like this and tell the truth about him. Prince did the same thing to the Time. Told him you can't use the Time name because he owned all that. Because he was their Time and them fell out big time. So they had to change the name to I forgot the name they used for a while, but then they probably Prince Ron gave it. Okay, yeah, you can use it again, stuff like that. But this is maybe business is dirty business, man. This is bad, especially if you get on the bad side of these big time artists, producers, owners of the company, A&Rs. Yeah, you can find yourself in a pickle. And then the other part of the documentary is where I'll be sure Mercury said that P Diddy did not know anything about music, so he didn't have no music history. Anything about music history, anything, music theory, anything like that. But he knew how to promote the artists and stuff. And he always wanted to be an artist. And he was, I think he said they was jealous of the artists because artists could do something that he couldn't do. He always wanted to be that artist, which he ended up being after a while. He was always asking other people that was around him, did this song sound good? And then they would say, yeah. It was yes men, but they didn't know. And then Mark Curry had to come back and say, no, man, that shit sound fucked up. You need to do it this way. You need to do it that way. So even after all this, didn't Mark Curry still, helped this nigga out, man. This is crazy. So now we go on to Suge Knight. Enter Suge Knight, which I'll be sure say that he was a street dude because he was doing security before Suge Knight blew up. He was doing security for Albie Sure. And he told a story about Albie Sure. I mean, he told a story about Suge Knight knocking some nigga down the hill and shit because he was talking smack to Albie Sure and the crew. But he said he was a street dude, but he knew about business and stuff. And that's one thing that Suge did know. He knew about the business and stuff, and he did more better by his artists on Death Row than P Diddy ever did for his artists. But Suge Knight had that reputation, man. That infamous reputation. So some people wanted to sign with him, but then they figured, oh man, I might be in the same bullshit man with P Diddy. But still, at least you got the money, got some money. But anyway, and then we go over to Suge Knight friend getting shot. When Suge got shot at that club and stuff, and P Diddy was there and stuff. And this is before all this West Coast shit happened. This is actually how the West Coast beef started. Some documentary we talked about. And they told the incident where some guy came up and shot his friend, Suge Knight friend, dead, and about to shoot Suge Knight. P Diddy there. Apparently, Suge Knight grabbed because Mark Curry is that good. Grabbed him and used him as a shield so he wouldn't shoot Suge. If you're gonna shoot me, you're gonna shoot P Diddy too. Apparently, the guy ran off. The shooter ran off and stuff. And Suge Knight was talking shit. I guess what you call it. P Diddy. I think the cops came in and stuff like that and stuff. But that was the beginning of the East Coast West Coast beef. That situation there, and I think that they was trying to knock off Suge. P Diddy trying to knock off Suge. And then I moved to Tupac again. He got thrown in jail because of the sex situation he had, raping the girl or whatever the girl said he raped. Found guilty, got thrown in jail. And he had some hard times in there. It was reports that he got raped up in there and stuff, all that, but he needed some protection and stuff. So he actually, I guess, reached out to Suge Knight and he joined Death Row, signed the papers and stuff. Where I signed that, bam, 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 and that was it. He needed $1 million. The bail was $1 million. That's what, 100 grand, whatever. He probably didn't have it. Cynical one, what's up? What's up? $1 million bail. Suge paid it. Boom. Tupac out. And that was it. And the rest was history. Put out the double album. Talked about the double album Tupac put out and all that and stuff too. Which was a great double album. I sold a lot of those too when I was a record retailer. I sold a lot of. We was anticipating that album. We heard a couple songs already came out and said, "Damn, that was a good ass album." Shit. All eyes on me. Damn. Anyway, then they go to talking about this crib. It's out here in California, Mansfield Hustlers. They call them somewhere. Mansfield Gangster Crib. This guy in D1, they interviewed him, and he talked about they were security for P Diddy when he come out here. So P Diddy had Crips as security because he can't have the Bloods because that wasn't gonna happen. You're gonna get Suge. You already try to take a pot shot at him. Ain't no Blood gonna be doing those kids. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Matter of fact, he fucking hit a target. So he got these Crips who would take a Diddy. Now P Diddy in the documentary denied that he had security of Crips. This shit was getting deep, man. This shit was deep, man. Of course, surface he had to deny. He can't say that he had to get Crips. Protect me when I go out to LA. Not nowhere else, but mostly in LA or something like that. And then the situation with Tupac getting killed in Vegas popped up. And they talked about the Keefe D situation. Well, I want to do a little bit. They talk about Craig Mack. Because Craig Mack, I think, was going to sign with Death Row. And he was supposed to perform at Suge Knight Club. But then Tupac got killed. So he changed his mind and said, fuck that. I'm not going to be with that because he was scared of Puffy because his wife called him. That, yeah, Tupac got killed. Yeah. So that was it. So now Kurt Burrow said, his friend said that he think he had something to do with Tupac murder. That's what everybody was talking about and stuff. Had something to do with Tupac murder and Biggie murder. But Tupac right now. And then they go into Keefe D, his testimony. He had this detective interviewing this detective that was in charge of the case. Talking about $1 million. Hit out on Tupac and stuff like that. And Orlando Brown, that was his nephew and stuff, his involvement in it and all that stuff. And we know the situation where Keefy D got stiffed the money by his man. His man kept the money, then he never gave him $1 million and stuff like that, and all this shit. Yeah. Now, this is something that I didn't know. Kurt Burrow said that there was some money allocated to the Crips to travel to Las Vegas. It came out of the Bad Boy budget. He saw it was a couple $1,000 with cars and stuff like that, the time there, whatever. But it came out of the what you call it budget. This is crazy, man. This is wild, man. Wow, this is wild. You know, damn. Next thing that PD put out some song that said, talking about muscle game and all this, hitting that, he got rid of his enemy and stuff. I guess with Tupac. Now, the one thing that I don't understand it, but Bad Boy, PD, all of them got warning. Don't go to LA. Don't go to LA. They got many warnings. Don't go there. It's too hot. So when I saw Biggie, out here, he was on the station. It was K Day or whatever. He was on one of the stations out here at the time. Interviewed and said, "Why are you on here again? Oh, we doing this peace thing. P Diddy calls this peace treaty thing, this peace tour. But there's no peace. Why are you here with your man in danger?" And then P Diddy, I mean not P Diddy, Biggie, already had some accident that happened to him, car accident where he fucked his leg up. So I mean, he couldn't. He already was slow already because he was so big, overweight and stuff. But now you got a busted leg. You can't walk really fast. If somebody try to put a problem, you finished. Unless your boys right there and got guns strapped up. Come on, and then it's not like you in a state where it's um what do you call that? Fuck, I forgot. When you stand your law states where you can protect yourself, you can have a gun to protect yourself. I forgot what to call. You in California, you can't have no guns and stuff. So I mean, you go in there and have a gun. The only ones you got to clear that shit with the police department. I got security, got a gun in there. I don't know if they had security or not. Apparently they didn't. But this was a setup to me, man. I just want that, man. Why you even come in? But then they said that P Diddy was gloating. He was gloating. Have Tupac dead and stuff like that. He said, "Man, I can gloat. I'm taking over everything." And it seemed like it backfired on him, or maybe he wanted Piggy out of the way. Now, before he was supposed to go to LA when he got shot at, killed, he was supposed to go to UK. P. Diddy canceled that. According to the documentary, he canceled that. Canceled that trip. If that trip went down, Biggie would have been still alive. If the trip wasn't canceled, apparently the people were saying on the other line from the UK, "Hey man, why you canceled?" P. Diddy just hung up the phone on him. Boom. So maybe P. Diddy wanted him there so he can get killed, so he can get all the money. You know what they say, art is more valuable dead than alive. And then he wanted to leave and didn't want to pay the money when he left. But didn't want to sign didn't want to sign no real deal for him. Deal where Biggie would profit. He want all the profit. Despicable, despicable. So Cook Bird believed that he has nothing to do with Biggie death. And another thing that people talking about, they talked about the funeral. You know, they had this big funeral. He did decide this would be a good thing in New York. And guess who paid for the funeral? He did out of his side of the money. Why couldn't you do that? That's your man that made you big. Pay for the funeral. What's wrong? That don't make no sense. Why you do it to your man? He said all this shit. Oh, he's the only one I trusted and stuff like that. And this and that. He was a great friend. I'm sad. No, you wasn't, man. Fuck out of here. And then Biggie was supposed to be on the cover of Rolling Stone because when he died, Biggie was supposed to be on the cover. We didn't know that. Biggie was supposed to be on the cover. But then P Diddy changed it because to him being on the cover because he had a solo album coming out. That solo album that actually did good, but still it was a solo album. And then another thing that happened that Kurt Bull said, apparently Big Diddy signed another deal, and the deal was favoring Big Diddy. I mean, Biggie. Biggie was going to get everything that he wanted in a deal. So when he died, P Diddy asked Kurt to change the documents so we'll favor Bad Boy. He wouldn't do it, so he got fired 3 months later. This document was fired, man. So now, when P Diddy performed every little step I take, whatever the breath I take, or whatever, a war show, and B Mother was there. She did not know that this nigga changed the documents. He stepped out of money, her son money. That's why she had to go back and sue him, and he finally gave her what, 3-4 million, whatever, couple million dollars. This is a diabolical motherfucker, man. This is y'all support this motherfucker. Should. Who else? And all these other gangsters like seem like P Diddy is the worst. It's the worst. It's wild, man. This is your man. You said this was your man. And you gonna stiff his family out of the money. Because Biggie was gonna leave and probably make twice the money. Because Biggie was gonna take the Junior Mafia, he was gonna take Kim. Everybody would want with Biggie. The Locks. He would have got signed a big deal too. Shit, Interscope probably would have signed him straight up. Come on now, stop it. Stop it. Interscope. I'm talking about not just that, but Interscope. That was under. I mean, they had Death Row under them. They would have signed. They had 2 motherfucking artists. Main artists over there. Death Row, Snoop, and all them. And then you got Biggie over there too. Or he probably could have went with the Aerosmith, Clive Davis. He was on the way to be making some big ass money. Biggie. I'm just saying, it's a tragedy, man. It's a tragedy. But he wouldn't change the documents, so he fired his best friend, childhood friend, Kurt Burrows. He don't care. No motherfucker. I didn't know it was this bad, man. God damn, it's worse. Support the channel. Cash app. Give me a like. I appreciate it. So that's it for part 1 and part 2. Part 3 is and 4 is coming up. I'm gonna go watch it. See what's going on. That's probably the juicy part. Where Capricorn, Clark entered. And I saw what you call it, talk about Capricorn, Clark, Star saying that her teeth are fucked up. Like, she was on drugs. She got on drugs, man. I mean, the industry burned her out, man. You used to be a fine broad, but them drugs, you start taking them drugs. Oh, she's all drugged out. But bitch used to be fine. Bitch look like she used to be fine as hell. That's what happened to Capricorn Clark. Crackhead pussy and shit. Ah. But hey, man, stay away from them drugs, folks. Especially that meth. And she was probably taking all that goddamn meth shit too. Shit, my fuck, man. You need to get cleaned up. Clean your ass up, shit. But anyway, I'll come back tomorrow. Finish this up. Now I don't know if there's another part of this documentary after 3 or 4. I have to see. I'm sure it is. But P Diddy's doing his best to try, and his lawyer's trying to do the best to try to block it, but I don't think he'll block it and stuff. This ain't gonna happen. They make it to the money off of this shit, man. If you got Uncle REG in here, well, I have to pay the bill in order to watch this shit. So I tell you something about this, man. I don't usually watch. There ain't no way I usually do a review on the documentary and stuff. When the last time I did a review on documentary? Never. So hey, go see it for yourself. Tell me what you think in chat. Respond to it, like the video. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it.